Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 7th episode of the oil-based baking series between me, Jessie Sheehan, and Colavita olive oil. Last week I made pound cake and I kept referring to it as the 5th episode, but it was actually the 6th. Today is the 7th. We're making an olive oil chocolate snacking cake. Like, so unbelievably delish, if you ask me, because I love snacking cakes and I love chocolate. It's super easy peasy, as you would expect. I am going to use kind of a flavorful Colavita olive oil. You could use a neutral olive oil if you didn't want to do so. It's not one bowl, because I'm going to mix some dry ingredients in a bowl before I mix my wet ingredients, but it's almost one bowl. You feel me? Okay, let's go. First things first, we are going to take 1 cup of all-purpose flour, 6 tablespoons of Dutch processed cocoa powder. I like Dutch processed because I love the color and I love the taste, but if you only have natural cocoa powder, don't worry about it. Then I have 1½ teaspoons of espresso powder. Doesn't make the cake taste like coffee, it just brings out the chocolatey flavor. I have a ½ teaspoon of kosher salt, a ½ teaspoon of baking soda, and 3/4 teaspoon baking powder. Now I just whisk that together, and you just want to whisk long enough to confirm that you incorporate your leavening properly, because if you don't whisk long enough, then you could have tunnels or holes in your cake, and that's where the baking soda or the baking powder wasn't properly mixed in. There you have it, peeps. Okay, now we grab a second bowl and we add 1/4 cup Colavita olive oil. And look at that beautiful kind of green color. Love that. Now I'm going to add 1/2 cup of brown sugar and 1/2 cup of granulated sugar. And there might be a drop more of olive oil in here. There we go. And I'm going to whisk that together. Here we go. Just an easy little whiskey, whiskey, whiskey. There we go until it's all kind of nice and incorporated. There we go. Bang that out. Over here, I have 1 egg, 1 yolk. I love to put yolks in cakes. It makes them extra moist. And I have a 1.5 teaspoons of pure vanilla extract. And I'm going to just whisk that in. You can see how quickly this cake comes together. What do you think of that? Now, we have 3/4 cup of whole milk. If you do not have whole milk, you could use almond milk, you could use oat milk, you could really use any kind of milk you wanted. You could even use buttermilk, which I love, and I always have buttermilk on hand, but if you don't, then you'll just use regular milk. I think you could probably do this with 2% or 1% milk as well, although I haven't tried it that way. And you can see that this is a really loose batter so far. Next, we're gonna add our dry ingredients. And I hope you guys are seeing how quickly this cake comes together. And I'm gonna fold, I think I've showed you guys before, my folding technique, where I move the bowl in one direction and my spatula in the other direction. And I do this so that I do not overmix my cake batter, because when you do so, you will get a tough cake. And look at this beautiful chocolatey color that is emerging as the dry is incorporated with the wet. Dun, da, da, da. Then I grab my pan. I have an 8x8 by 2-inch pan. I have greased it with an olive oil cooking spray, a nonstick spray. You could just grease it with regular old olive oil, like on a piece of paper towel, let's say. Or you could use butter, but I like to use olive oil. Now we add this very wet and chocolatey batter to our pan. Dun, da, da, da. And there you have it. Oh my gosh, I wish you could smell this. I'm gonna stick this into a 350-degree oven for about a ½ an hour. I won't lie, right now my oven is broken. So I've been baking in my toaster oven, and I cannot wait to show you what this cake looks like when it is baked in a toaster. Is that incredible? I am just so impressed with my toaster, I have to say. So this is a snacking cake. As you can see, it's good for snacking, so it's not a very tall cake. It's a perfect height for a snack. I don't even think you need a fork to eat this cake, so I am not going to eat it with one. have a little bit of confectioner's sugar. And that's because this cake is super, super simple like this. This is how I'm gonna decorate it. I'm not gonna make a frosting for this cake, although you 100% could. This cake would be delicious with the cream cheese frosting that I made in the first episode of the oil-based baking series. I used the cream cheese frosting to frost a carrot snacking cake. That would be lovely on top of this cake. So if you do want to frost, I would suggest looking at that frosting. Here we go. Slice a piece. Dun, da, da, da. Oh my gosh, peeps, look at that beautiful crumb. Perfect. I'm gonna take a bite. Extremely fudgy, chocolatey snacking cake. So, so, so yum. Thanks for joining me in this 7th episode of the oil-based baking series. You can find this video on my IGTV, on Colavita's IGTV, and on their YouTube channel. And you can find the recipe for this deliciousness on my website, Jessie Sheehan Bakes, or on the Colavita website. Thank you. Nice to see you again this week. Bye.